This on the women's side will be our bottom 9 in the point standings, but a couple of athletes that saw success on the O course last year, including Danny Horan, who will be in lane number 7, who finished 14th in that event. But in lane number 4, the top finisher in this heat in that O course event was Emily Bridgers.
Emily Bridgers currently sitting in 33rd, and Brandon, she took 13th in the O course last year, so let's see if she can hold that same pace this year.
Also in this heat, and we hear the comments, you want to see her, it's Brenda Castro, coming out of Monterrey, Mexico, the Latin American regional champion.
Huge congratulations to her for being the first athlete out of Mexico to be represented as an individual female. So congratulations to Brenda.
So with this heat that we've seen, we had these athletes not really have a chance to pick up Rescue Randy or have any exposure to it. So they're having to go off what they've seen. And what they saw was a whole lot of different ways to do this.
There's a lot of different ways to get this done, but the common themes here, we need to commit to the climbs and move with purpose on the obstacle course. No mistakes allowed. And then on the run, what we saw with the men, a lot of times the winners on the run were not the winners in each heat. So don't race the run.
Women's day number 2 officially underway. It starts with this Rescue Randy drag. About half the field opting to drag by the straps on the shoulder of those plate carriers. The rest going with basically a hug around the waist and dragging it. Krista Mayfield saw Cole Sager.
What I'm looking at, 2 big differences. We've got one hunched over and we've got one dragging it forward. Big difference in the way we're doing that, but a lot of what we saw earlier and what Cole Sager, super powerful male athlete, he was able to just grab the strap and run. But if you don't have that kind of output, the best thing you can do is get Randy off the ground so that there's as little friction as possible.
3 athletes already through the drag. It's going to be Jennifer Smith in lane number 8 in first. Camilla Sullivanson-Hellman in lane number 6, and Lauren Fisher in lane number 5, the first 3 to the first of 2 rope climbs, this one with the thinner rope.
That rope is only 3/4, and then they're going to move on to the fat rope, which is 1.5 inches. So double the thickness. It's going to make that even more grip intensive.
One of the athletes making their way up the ropes at this point is Danny Horan. For an update on her, we go to Mike Arsenault.
Well, it wasn't just the lower back and the posterior chain that was wrecked on the marathon roll on Wednesday night. It was also the hands, and there's a clip of Danny Horan after she finished the marathon staring at her hands in abject horror. I asked her about it. The hands were actually fine. It just she was had her gloves on for so long that her hands were stained from her leather gloves. She feels pretty good today, and she thinks the Rescue Randy drag is going to be more about quads than anything else.
Thank you, Mike. And as she's making her way up the rope for a second climb, we've already got our leaders making their way out, and Jennifer Smith almost stumbling over the transition from the turf to the padding surface as Smith does lead the way. It'll be Sullivanson-Hellman in second, and Lauren Fisher rounding out the top 3. Not quite the jostling for position we saw in heat number 4 on the men's side. This is more what we saw in those first 3 heats, where the field really stretched out on the opening portion of this event.
For our ladies, we've got a 12-minute time cap, and more than half of that event is probably going to be running. So you don't want to waste time. You need to do this with purpose, but you can also blow yourself up and ruin the O course, and then you ruin those rope climbs coming back in if you go too hot. So this is really a chess game here.
Jennifer Smith leading the way out of Lexington, Kentucky, the 32-year-old, making her 3rd individual appearance, 5th appearance overall. She had 2 team appearances in 2010, 2012. She's somebody that you don't really want to see leading when it comes to the run portion of this event, as she is a solid endurance athlete when it comes to running. One thing that will also benefit her, some of these obstacles a little bit high, heights aren't going to be a problem for her. She was a pole vaulter at the University of Kentucky in her college days.
You can see the lead is just about the same. They haven't really closed the gap at all, so as she gets to the O course, as long as she can move efficiently from one to the next, I think she could be able to carry that lead all the way through back into the North Park.
To the O course goes the leader, Jennifer Smith. First obstacle will be the hurdles. Some of them those low logs, some the shorter walls, about 5 feet high. Those proving to be no problem as she makes her way to the rope wall, which has started to dry off as the sun has come out, I would imagine. It was pretty slick early on for the men in the first couple of heats.
I was just going to mention the weather, Brandon. I think it's actually a perfect temperature, overcast skies. It's not blaring sun. This is a great way to start this event.
Struggle over the wall for Jennifer Smith, and that's opened up the window for Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, the rookie out of the Europe Regional. Didn't seem too sure of herself on that dismount over the wall, so interval once again increases for Smith as she makes her way under the low net. Looked like that plate carrier got caught a little bit at the end of it.
Definitely one of the things that we saw with the male heats is that if they kept their vest a little bit loose and it jostled around, it allows them to breathe better, but it also gets snagged on that cargo net as they go underneath it. So it's something to think about. You got to pick your poison.
A three-time individual competitor in Smith leading the game's rookie, Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, in the second position. It's like a little bit more cautious pacing on the cargo net than we saw in the past couple of heats on the men's side. Smith easily handling the hop logs. Next will be the rope transfer. And this could be the absolute game changer when it comes to the O course here.
We saw this. It was very costly last year. I called this for the Masters and Teens. Same thing this year. With the weight vest, too, it adds an extra element of difficulty.
Smith hung up on this final rope trying to get to that log, and she does a good job of getting that momentum to swing over to the log, secure her footing, and she's onto the rope swing, the next to last obstacle on this course. Just past the halfway point towards the 12-minute time cap. As Jennifer Smith to this point going wire to wire with the lead as she makes her way to the monkey bars.
You can see the change in elevation from that first bar to the second bar and into the third bar. They go up in elevation, then she has to make her way across and come back down.
And for those curious, you are not able to go past that first bar. You have to put your hands on the first and last bar. Jennifer Smith has opened up a huge lead over Solomonson-Hellman and the rest of the field. And at this point, it comes down to, can she just handle the rope climbs, and can she hold on to rescue Randy for that final 132-foot drag?
At this point here, it's just about maintaining a certain tempo and speed, try to recover, allow your grip to recover so that you've got something left to get up and down that rope.
Sweden's Camilla Solomonson-Hellman will be the second athlete through the O course, but a good 30 seconds behind the leader, Jennifer Smith. Lauren Fisher sitting in the third position. So as the leaders making their way back to the stadium, one thing I'm curious about, we've talked about the importance of the drag when it comes to Rescue Randy. Cole Sager put on that show doing that one-arm drag. There's only a couple different ways you're not allowed to handle Rescue Randy down the field.
You're not allowed to grab him by his wrists and pull, and you're not allowed to grab him by his feet and pull. Anything else is in fair play. And Brandon, one of the things that we haven't seen yet is anybody try to sling him over the shoulder and run across. It might take a couple extra seconds to get him on the shoulder, but once you got him there, you can really hoof it across the field.
How much of a play into that is the fact that they didn't have any exposure to Rescue Randy before they stepped onto the field?
I think it's actually a big deal because it's dead weight and you're not familiar with it. They weren't allowed to play with it before they got out there, so you might spend 15, 20 seconds and that could just be too much, too costly.
And it's going to take something very, very costly for Jennifer Smith to possibly lose the lead, as she has a 30-second advantage over Camilla Solomonson-Hellman in second. And you got to go even farther back than that to get to Lauren Fisher in third as they made their way through the O course.
One of the things that I just saw her do is glance down at her watch. She must be keeping a split on the run. It's something that I do in workouts all the time, where I want to make sure that I'm being honest and I'm keeping a certain tempo and a pace. So she's doing a good job of making sure that she stays on pace.
3 minutes remain until the 12-minute time cap, and Jennifer Smith makes her way back to the stadium. And she's in one of the near lanes from the entrance, so she's going to have an even bigger lead than it appears on this run. She'll make the turn into lane number 8 and onto the thick rope, 1.5 inches in diameter.
You can see she does a great job of stretching her body as far as she could possibly go, and then bringing those feet as close to her hands as possible so she can take up as much rope in as few pulls.
Earlier, Mike brought up the grip factor that came into play when it was on the row. We're taxing that grip even more with the drag and the obstacles before we even get to these last rope climbs. Solomonson-Hellman, second athlete onto the rope climbs. She did close the gap a little bit on the run, but it doesn't appear like it'll be enough, barring disaster for Smith. Solomonson-Hellman fighting to get that last extension, and she will make the touch. She still has one more rope climb, as Smith has already got Rescue Randy in her grasp, but struggling to really get that moving, as she was fighting for a long time to turn it around. And if Solomonson-Hellman can hurry up, she might have a little bit of a shot here, as Smith is really struggling to get this thing going.
She took a couple extra seconds to pick it up, but she did a great job of getting it all the way off the floor. So she's carrying it chest to back. There's no friction on the ground, just the feet dragging along the floor. That is a really efficient way, especially when you're exhausted.
Solomonson-Hellman is closing the gap as Smith sets Rescue Randy down, and we're only about 15 feet apart. First to second as Solomonson-Hellman going with that shoulder strap drag. And we are neck and neck as we have about 44 feet remaining. It's a rookie versus a game's veteran as they cross the next to last line. Solomonson-Hellman picking up the pace. Camilla Solomonson-Hellman came out of one of the toughest women's fields in the regionals this year to take the final qualifying spot into the game. She'll make the most of it here in this heat, as she'll set the time to beat at 11 minutes, 23.87 seconds. Jennifer Smith will bring Rescue Randy into the end zone and cross the line at 11 minutes and 32 seconds. And wow, was that a huge difference maker with that second drag, as Jennifer Smith was the fastest with it the first time, but it was costly on the second.
Jennifer Smith was off the second rope climb at 9 minutes and 54 seconds, so that drag took her over a minute and a half, Brandon.
Lauren Fisher trying to get across that line. That does count for a rep, and that could be huge. Not in this heat, but it could over the next 3 that still remain. But it's Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, one of 2 of the 9 athletes in this heat that were able to beat the time cap. She's in at 11 minutes 23 seconds to set the pace. So we have our top time in the books. Still 3 heats remain, and we'll see if anybody in heat number 2 can chase down Camilla's time. That heat coming up next. time for heat number 2 at women's event number 5 of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. Is at the North Park Stadium. We're ready for the battleground presented by the United States Marine Corps. Brandon Domain, Rob Orlando, Mike Arsenault with you. And we only saw 2 in the first heat able to beat the time cap in this tough test to start day number 2.
Women's individual event number 5 starts with a drag of Rescue Randy, 165 pounds. We're going to drag him across the field of play into 2 rope climbs and then a 650-meter run, followed by the O course. And then we're going to do it all in reverse. Run back through the ropes and finish with that same 165-pound drag. We've got a 12-minute cap for our ladies.
That cap was crucial in the first heat as it took out 7 of the 9 athletes who weren't able to beat that time cap. As we get ready for our next group of 10 to take on this event, and they include a couple of athletes that have experience from the O course event 1 year ago, including China Cho, the 20th place finisher in that. She'll be in lane number 2, but the top woman in this heat and nearly the top woman in the entire event 1 year ago, Bethany Shadburn, in lane number 3.
Currently sitting in 25th, and she took 4th on the O course in 2017, and she took a 4th place on event number 1 for the 2018 games. So let's see what she can do here.
Another athlete to keep an eye on that wasn't here a year ago is somebody that's proven to be very good with these odd object kind of events, Ike Gilfadottir.
One of the smallest athletes in the bunch, but had a great total on Wednesday with a 305-pound back squat.
And away we go as we see if anybody can catch the time set by Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, 11 minutes, 23.87 seconds.
Brandon, right off the bat, we can see a bunch of different carrying styles, some just under the arm, some grabbing him by the vest itself. We've seen a few different styles work better for different ladies, different men, but right now, we've got a good, even race all the way across.
Ike Gilfadottir dragging that Rescue Randy that's 40 pounds heavier than she is, but it's Bethany Shadburn that's leading the way. And she'll have about a 5-second advantage over the rest of the field, making her way to the first of 2 rope climbs. On the way out of the stadium, the first climb with the thin rope, 3/4 in diameter. The second rope will be double that size, 1.5 inches wide.
And you can see she does a great job of using her legs to climb the rope, try to save the grip as much as possible. She brings those feet as high up to the knees and chest as she can get, taking up as much rope as possible with each pull.
For the leader, Bethany Shadburn, it's going to be an interesting test. 1 year ago, the first 4 events were a completely different story than the last 3 days of competition. First 4 events, she averaged a 13th place finish. The last 11, 21st place finish. So this will be a good test for Shadburn to see if that second year gives her a little bit more experience in how to handle the competition. As she leads the way by a good margin over the rest of the field. In fact, just now are they making the run back to the north side for second and third, as it's China Cho in second and Rebecca Voigt in third.
Well, Brandon, even though the O course is very similar to what it was last year, we're doing things a little bit differently. This time we've got a vest. This time we're going to do a bunch of work before and after the O course. It's not a sprint. That just shows the evolution of the way this event has come together and the way the CrossFit Games continues to evolve over time.
Top 3 separating themselves from that pack that you saw exiting the stadium a moment ago. But out in front, it looks a lot like it did in heat number 1, where we've got a lot of separation between the top 3.
That's a gigantic lead, and one of the things that we need to be aware of is the pacing on the run. If you hustle, some of the ladies that are in second, third, fourth position, if they try to close up this gap, it could really hurt them in the O course because they're going to be sucking wind the whole time.
Event leader Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, whose time is 11 minutes 23.87 seconds. She got through the O course at about 8 minutes and 5 seconds, doing so in the second position. As you can see, a wide margin from first place, Bethany Shadburn, all the way on the far left side of the screen to China Cho, who's highlighted in second. And then we've got 5 athletes really within about 5 seconds of each other in that race for third.
And you can see she's got those arms straight, trying to spare the grip, relax the arms, make the blood flow, bring everything back to normal so that she can get through the O course without too much of a problem.
Onto the hurdles for Shadburn, and this is going to be the familiar part for her that she's very happy to see with her success 1 year ago on the O course. That's the first we've seen that one grabbing a little bit of sand.
That's a veteran move right there. You put a little bit of sand on the hands. Maybe her hands were a little sweaty. That puts a little grit so that she can grab that rope.
Struggling to get across the top of the wall, but she does do so. Still holds a good lead as she makes her way through the rope wall. And next up will be the low net, followed by the cargo net. And how about this pack behind her? 7-way race for 2nd through 8th. As China Cho trying to hold off everybody in this heat, aside from Bethany Shadburn, who's well ahead of that. Now, this might be the first time we see something come into play, as some of these obstacles, we have a field of 10, there's only 5 of the obstacles, so I'll be curious to see if that logjam effect happens on some of those choke points in this O course.
Yeah, we talked about this in the warm-ups, you and I, Brandon, just if there was going to be a bottleneck, where was it going to happen? But the likelihood was pretty low because we thought there'd be more spread out throughout the run.
Now, the scary thing there with that pack being so big is if you're Bethany Shadburn and you have a mistake on one of those choke point obstacles, you could find yourself going from 1st all the way back to 9th pretty easily.
She did a great job. Accuracy was really on point. No mistakes so far.
Hop logs, no problem, as she makes her way to the back half of the O course, starting with the rope transfer. Justine Beef, you might want to keep an eye on this, as you have to complete the O course. That is a minimum work requirement, and she's still making her way up the rope wall, which is the 2nd obstacle. So going from last back out in front, Bethany Shadburn through the rope transfer. And all that's left is the rope swing, followed by the monkey bars. And she's got nothing but daylight in front of her at this point when she gets past the O course final 2 movements. And they're touching the sand, so she's got to go back to the start. And thankfully for her, she's far enough ahead of that pack that this won't be too costly in terms of positions. Doing a much better job the 2nd time.
Little attention to detail. She might have had just a little bobble there. No big deal. She has lots and lots of room out in front.
This gigantic lead. Keep in mind, any of these hanging elements on the obstacle course, just picture that the floor is lava. If you touch the sand, you got to go back to the start. And no more of that left for Bethany Shadburn. Camilla Solomonson-Hellman, the current event leader, was through the O course at about 8:05, make it 90 seconds quicker for Shadburn.
Moving really efficiently. I like the tempo of her run. Just has a very comfortable lead, and as an athlete, as a competitor, that's such a great position to be in.
Race for 2nd might be a pick-em, but out in front at the moment for that spot is Rebecca Voigt, making her record-sharing with Ben Smith, 10th Open Division appearance at the Games. And this lead is only getting bigger for Bethany Shadburn. But keep in mind, still 2 heats remain after this one, so she's not just racing the other 9 athletes in this heat.
Every now and then we can see her shake out the arms, try to straighten the arms out, shake the hands out completely. Anybody who's ever done that CrossFit benchmark, Helen, knows what that's all about, where you go out onto your 3rd 400-meter run and your arms are completely blown out and you try to run with them at your sides just to get that blood flow back.
So while Shadburn out in front, just that reminder, the minimum work requirement in this event is completing the O course. So we've got about 7 women working on the monkey bar portion of this in that race for 2nd, 3rd, really every position in this heat, minus the back couple. And this might be very, very interesting in that race for 2nd to 8th. when we get back to the North Park Stadium. But for Bethany Shadburn, she continues to dominate this event. She's led it since the very beginning, but that wasn't something that worked out well for Jennifer Smith when she got back to the stadium. She was in a similar position with a large lead and a wire-to-wire lead.
Similar position is right. They both got to the, she got to the Randy with a gigantic lead, and you could see her struggle to pick it up and make her way across the floor, and she was able to get past with just a couple seconds left.
As Bethany Shadburn makes her way back to the stadium and the ropes, let's go to Mike Arsenault. Sorry about the technical difficulties there. Apologies about that, as Bethany Shadburn continuing to lead on the left-hand side of the screen. She makes her way up the thicker of the two ropes, really the more challenging of the two ropes, obviously. That's double the size of this thinner rope that she'll make her way up. Still 2 minutes until the time to beat of 11 minutes and 23 seconds.
Brandon, I love the way she's moving. Everything is so deliberate. It's so well thought out. There's not a mistake. There's not a misstep anywhere in this, except for that the rope transfer. The whole run has been absolutely perfect.
Nobody else is even in the stadium yet when it comes to the athletes in this heat, and Bethany Shadburn is already back to rescue Randy, and she'll have the 132-foot drag of the 165-pound dummy. And checking back in on Justine Beath, who might be seeing her weekend come to an end, as she is in severe danger of not meeting the minimum work requirement. She's been at the rope wall for a good 6 minutes. But in the meantime, it's a completely different story for Bethany Shadburn. 44 feet remains. Got to get all of the Rescue Randy training dummy into the blue portion of the end zone and then cross the line. And Bethany Shadburn out of Cedar Park, Texas will do just that. She'll lead the way at 10 minutes and 30 seconds. Now the race for second is between a handful of athletes. See Ig Gilfadottir involved, Meredith Root involved in lane number 6. She's onto the thinner rope. And what a weekend for Meredith Root, that 2 weeks ago she wasn't even supposed to be here. She got in after disqualifications came from the regional level. So the alternate having a pretty solid showing this weekend in her debut appearance at the games.
Well, Brandon, I'd be really curious to know, like, what happened with her nutrition right after the regionals, like how that all came together. So good on her for keeping things on track and being able to come out and compete.
So the race for second playing out as we get ready for heat number 3, which will be coming up very, very quickly as we hit the final 30 seconds here in event number 5.
It's time to face the battleground presented by the United States Marine Corps on day 2 of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games. Thank you for being with us here today, everybody. In Madison, Wisconsin, I'm Sean Woodland alongside 2009 CrossFit Games champion Tanya Wagner, and Mike Arsenault is on the field. It's time to test strength, and it's time to test some gymnastic skill in a weird, unique setting here.
But overall, this is an obstacle course test, and it's going to be a fun one. The ladies have to first drag rescue Randy down the field, and then they're going to do 2 rope climbs. The first climb is going to be on a regular diameter rope. The second's a little thicker. They go run to the obstacle course, do a few obstacles there, and then they come back through the entire event, finish with that rescue Randy drag to the end.
132 feet on each of those Rescue Randy drags, and Rescue Randy 165 pounds for the women. 10 women in this third of 4 heats, and Alessandra Pacelli in lane number 9. The last time we saw her, she was in bad shape on that marathon row.
It was a heck of a day one for all these ladies, but specifically Alessandra Pacelli. She was cramping up severely the second half of that marathon row. Abs and legs were just cramping. She did everything she could to finish. A lot of moments in that she really did not expect to be able to finish. She fought through that, had a lot of support with her, and I'm really anxious to see how she overcomes that today. This is her 6th CrossFit Games, so no stranger to competition. And I think she needs this one under her belt, just kind of shake off everything that happened on Wednesday night.
And lane 1 is Tanil Berline. She won the obstacle course event last year. They have the same elements this year, but it is a different challenge.
In CrossFit, there's lots of ways that we can test skills and similar skills. So while this is an obstacle course, I'm really anxious to see if Tanil can still hold on to that the dominance in this being a longer event, and now wearing that weight vest that weighs 14 pounds. That's going to be a huge change, and a game changer for this event.
Third heat is underway. Time to beat belongs to Bethany Shadburn. 10 minutes, 29.20 seconds, and every woman electing to walk backwards and drag Rescue Randy, and the majority of them hanging on to the weight vest. They can move Rescue Randy any way they want to. The only way they cannot is by grabbing him by the wrists or by the ankles.
This is the first time they're getting a chance to even touch the Randy dummy, so they don't want to waste the time and get off to a bad start. So a lot of the ladies doing this, I think, is smart. They can kind of feel what that feels like, and then they can adjust if they need to when they come back to it at the end of the event.
Whitney Galin in lane 4 was one of the first women to get to her first rope climb. In lane 2 on the left of your screen is Jamie Green, and in lane 1 is Tanil Berline. Lane 3, that is Brooke Wells. All of these women on the outside of the top 10 looking to score some points to get themselves into position to push for a spot on the podium. Alessandra Pacelli looking to have no problem so far. Looking smooth as she is up her first rope climb and now on to the second rope climb, and each rope is different here.
And this second rope is a lot thicker, so what that means is there's going to be a lot more taxing on their forearms and their grip. And after that marathon row, that is one of the things that was definitely taxed, their grip, their forearms. And so to see this event come up, I was like, oh, that's just nice for these athletes. After this completely fatigued, get a day of rest, what can you do? We're going to put your grip to the test.
Tanil Berline is first onto the run. She is followed by Jamie Green, and Whitney Galin is third, and here comes Brooke Wells, and they now run 650 meters to the obstacle course. What do you think the keys are here for these ladies?
Well, 2 different pieces to this event. Anytime there's a climb or an obstacle, you have to commit to it, be aggressive, and make sure you go for those, be ready. And then on the run, just manage the run. You don't want to race here and get your heart rate so high that when you get to those obstacles, you're going to fail. Because missed obstacles are going to cost you 15, 20 seconds, and that could cost you the event. So just take these cautiously, both on the way to the obstacle course and then on the way from the obstacle course.
Tanil Berline, in her 3rd career appearance at the CrossFit Games, has 1 event win in her career, and that was the obstacle course last year. And in 2017, she was 6th overall at the CrossFit Games, and has a pretty diverse athletic background, and that usually serves you well in events like this.
There's a lot of different skills needed in this event, and that's where the agility and the accuracy, sometimes we see these awesome CrossFit athletes, they're so strong, they can handle some of the events, but then they get to something like a ball toss or something that requires a lot of that athleticism, and if they don't have those skill sets from the time they were younger, you just don't see them do as well.
Berline played basketball, she ran cross country, ran track in high school, even played some rugby in college when she was at Utah Valley University. And now Jamie Green is behind her, and Jamie Green is starting to pick up some ground on Tanil Berline. Berline in 19th place overall coming into this event. Jamie Green in 17th place. Brooke Wells behind them, and Wells in 15th place overall.
The points really do matter, because when you can get to that fourth heat, when you can be in the heat with the most competition, it raises your game. So for a lot of these ladies, we're going to reseed now after every event. So it's really important what they do to be with the top. So these points matter, and they could get these ladies to the final heat.
We saw it with the men. The intensity in that final heat really does tend to pick up because podium spots are on the line. Jamie Green is now even with Tanil Berline as they're over the hurdles and onto the rope wall. Second of 8 obstacles here on the obstacle course. Brooke Wells just getting to the rope wall as well. Green is over first, just ahead of Berline. Green will hit the ground and now has the lead as they move to the low net. Bethany Shadburn has the time to beat, 10 minutes 29.20 seconds. Did that in the second of 4 heats. This is the third heat of event number 5, the battleground, presented by the United States Marine Corps. No problem for Green under the low net. Berline's through, and here comes Brooke Wells on the right of your screen and down in the cargo net. And this has been the most dangerous obstacle that we've seen so far.
I love the way Green is pulling on that the inside rope there. It's really important to be able to hold on to that one vertical rope. That's going to be the most stable. She was very quick, and I loved her transition as well.
Green up and over, and now she starts her descent. We saw both Matt Fraser and Patrick Velder take pretty nasty falls off of that thing. Jamie Green comes down legless.
She did. She actually kept her legs bent so her feet didn't get caught. That was really smart.
Now onto the hop logs. And Green deciding to stick with the slow and smooth approach to those. Now on to the rope transfer. This is another obstacle that's given some women problems.
This is the one that I was really anxious to see, because remember, that weight vest weighs 14 pounds. So to be able to let go of the rope, it's just so much strength needed in that one arm, in that one grip to let go. And good work through the course of those ropes. That gets to be a lot, and at the end, just like that, that's when you're like, can I do this last one and let go?
Jamie Green is through and moves on to the rope swing.
And this one, the rope swing. Green, hold on to balance as she makes the leap of faith.
Green is through, and in the background, Brooke Wells is on the rope transfer, and Tanil Berline was just on the left of your screen. She is moving up to the monkey bars, or to the rope swing, pardon me. That is the 7th obstacle, the rope swing. The 8th and final obstacle is the monkey bars, and Jamie Green just cleared those.
Really aggressive on those monkey bars. She looked real smooth, and I love her speed in between the obstacles here, and she went off to a good run. Tanil Berline is still moving through. I think this is where we're seeing the difference from last year to this year with her, is just the duration of this event. It really has slowed her down a little bit, as opposed to last year when it was a sprint obstacle.
Jamie Green first back on the run, 650 meters back to the North Park. Jamie Green and Tanil Berline are in lanes right next to each other. They're on the far end of the field in lanes 1 and 2. That's rookie Amanda Barnhart getting over the cargo net.
Looking slow on that start there. I'm not sure why she was. I love the quick transitions. Every little bit matters, or wasn't a whole lot there to wait for.
Remember, they do not have to touch every log. They just need to hit the first and the last one and then make it over. So some of the women choosing just to take a slower route through those, but it is the safest route. Amanda Barnhart still on the obstacle course, as Jamie Green is our leader in this heat, trying to chase down the time to beat in the upper left-hand part of your screen that belongs to Bethany Shadburn, who did that in the second heat.
And she has about a 30-second lead over Shadburn's time from when she came off that last obstacle. So nice sizable lead. She just needs to stay ahead of Tanil, because Tanil was quicker through the first portion of this event, which they're approaching again now here for the back half.
Jamie Green made her individual debut at the CrossFit Games last year. She finished in 8th place. She has one career event win. That was on day 1 last year when she won Amanda 45.
She had shoulder surgery back in November, so that wasn't that long ago for her to be put under the set of tests that she has here. So I was really anxious to see how she was going to do, and she held up really well on day one. So looking really strong here as well.
And she gets to pick the brain of another competitor. Her boyfriend, Elliot Simmons, is in the men's field. He did this event earlier. I'm sure the two of them talked a little bit about how to best attack this event. Jamie Green first back into the North Park, and she will have to work her way down to the end of the field before she will start her final 2 rope climbs. She will start with a thick rope, then on the thinner rope, and then it's that final 132-foot rescue Randy drag down the field.
At this point in the race now, she's 18 seconds ahead of Shadburn's time.
Jamie Green getting right to work, and the first rope climb is down.
The way
Bill Berline has just gotten into the stadium.
The way she comes down is so smart. Uses all legs, just kind of rides the brakes, if you want to think of it that way. Let's go with her grip.
So Berline is on her first rope climb. She is at the bottom middle part of your screen. Brooke Wells is also on her first rope climb. So only 3 women back into the stadium. It's a 12-minute time cap on this event. So now more than a minute to go for Jamie Green to chase down Bethany Shadburn's time to beat.
At this point, you just need to keep Randy moving. You have to keep moving. It doesn't matter if you're grabbing one side, one part of the body, but you gotta move. Quick feet.
Jamie Green is just trying to inch her way to the finish line. Camila Bloch-Bazinet is on the upper right part of your screen, and she is struggling on the obstacle course. She's the 2014 fittest woman on earth, and just can't find a way to get through that rope swing.
And so surprising with her gymnastic background, really surprising she would be struggling on that event. But Jamie Green now is moving her feet, but she has the pressure with Tennille Reed, and Tennille just keeps on moving, and that's what you have to do here.
Jamie Green is in the lead. Tennille Berline is starting to gain a little bit of ground. She is moving a little more quickly, but now she is braking. And here comes Jamie Green closer to the finish line, looking like she can set the time to beat. 9 seconds to go. And Jamie Green has the top mark in event 5.
Wow, but just a few seconds.
Brooke Wells is starting to gain ground on Tennille Berline. Bethany Shadburn is now in second. The next fastest time is Camilla Salmonson-Hellman at 11:23.87 seconds. So Berline can put herself in third place in this event with 1 heat to go. Berline is in. 1 minute until we hit the 12-minute time cap. And Brooke Wells just about out of gas. She's going to take a break. Cassidy Lance McWhorter and Margot Alvarez are also on their dummy drag, as is Carrie Pierce. But Wells is in the lead, not in danger of surrendering that right now. And Brooke Wells is in. Third in the heat right now, 4th in the event. Margot Alvarez is on the left. Cassidy Lance McWhorter, who won the Worldwide Open and her regional, along with Carrie Pierce, are all still on the field. Alvarez is in. That'll put her in 7th place in the event. 1 heat to go, though. Cassidy Lance McWhorter, she has finished, and now Carrie Pierce in the middle of your screen. Just trying to get in inside that time cap. She's got 4 seconds. So Pierce will finish, but she will not get across the finish line. Jamie Green has the new mark to beat. 10 minutes, 25.72 seconds.
Tennille Berline was the first one on the run, but it was Green who caught her there on the obstacle course. She was so quick through the transitions to the obstacle course. Smart here with her legs back so she didn't get caught. Really smooth run there on the obstacles. She was by herself on these ropes for a little while. Struggled a bit when she first got to rescue Randy, but then once some pressure came, she picked up that speed and was able to take the win.
Jamie Green trying to lock up the second career event win. 10 minutes, 25.72 seconds. Tennille Berline will finish in second, followed by Brooke Wells, Margot Alvarez, and Cassidy Lance McWhirter. The overall leaders are coming up next as they hit the battleground presented by the United States Marine Corps. We'll have the coverage next. It is always a fight on top of the overall leaderboard for the women, and that's why this event is aptly named. It's the Battleground, presented by the United States Marine Corps, the 5th event of the 2018 Reebok CrossFit Games here on day 2. Thanks for joining us, everybody. I'm Sean Woodland, alongside 2009 CrossFit Games champion Tanya Wagner. Mike Arsenault is on the field. The Battleground, just about pure grunt work.
I love it. Use your fitness. What you do every day in the gym, use it here. Drag a dummy down the field. You're going to do 2 rope climbs, go through an obstacle course that has 8 obstacles, and then come on back through the course, run on back to those ropes, and then drag again the Rescue Randy dummy. The lady's going to be wearing a 14-pound weight vest.
A very unique test of fitness here. And Mike Arsenault has more on the field.
Thank you, Sean. When is Rescue Randy used in everyday life? Well, it's used by the military, law enforcement, and first responders. So they practice extractions, they practice transportations of immobile patients. 165 pounds for the women. Where can you not pull Rescue Randy from? You cannot pull by the ankles, you cannot pull by the wrist. You can put it on your shoulder if you want, or you can drag it by 2 hands or 1 hand. We've seen everything so far through 7 heats, 4 of the men, 3 of the women. Final heat right now. See who will take event number 5.
Thanks, Mike. Top 10 women, the overall standings. Laura Horvath, the rookie in the middle of the field, is your overall leader by just 12 points over the defending champion, Tia Toomey. Horvath in those red pants and the white leader's jersey.
Horvath is the only woman in competition right now to have all of her event finishes inside the top 10. So impressive for a rookie, and I want her to continue to impress me. And I think she can do it here because this event has so much to do with your grip. And she has national titles for rock climbing, in the sport of rock climbing, prior to coming to CrossFit.
All of these women handling that Rescue Randy pretty easily. Laura Horvath's in the middle. 2 champions are right next to her. Tia Toomey's on the right. Annie Thorisdottir is on the left. We're going to find out really fast how the rookie can handle pressure here.
What I love about that is it pays to be a repeat athlete at the CrossFit Games, and a lot of these women are. Horvath is not, and she's holding her own with these ladies. So excited to see what she does when she gets to those obstacles. And I love her confidence at only 21 years of age. In between the competition this year, look at the way she just ripped right up that rope like she doesn't even have a weight vest on. The other ladies taking their time. She is flying.
Horvath was first to the run. Kadrin Davidsdottir, who is now just making the turn, was second. Behind her is Annie Thorisdottir. But Horvath with the lead here. But she has some very fit women breathing down her neck.
She has her weight vest light, not as tight around her chest. That's really smart for this run.
So Horvath is a rookie. She's never been to the games. The 3 women right behind her, between them, have 5 total championships right now. So it's the veterans versus the rookie right now.
And I could say, is this a mistake? Is this a rookie mistake going out too hard? But Sean, I don't think it is. This lady knows what she's doing. This run needs to be quick, but you have to be smart here. You have to make sure that you're not racing so that by the time you get to the obstacle course that you're shot and you have to waste and take time. You need a clean run on those obstacles. Commit to your obstacles and to those rope climbs, something that Horvath will do and that she already has done on the rope climbs.
It is early, but Laura Horvath is ahead of Jamie Green's pace that she used to set the time to beat at 10 minutes 25.72 seconds. So it's Horvath followed by Tia Toomey, Kadrin Davidsdottir, and Annie Thorisdottir. Tia Toomey currently in second place overall. She is 12 points back of Laura Horvath, and let's not forget that Tia Toomey is a very good runner.
That's the best thing for Toomey in this event, is that we're adding the runs, we're adding a little bit of that cardiovascular endurance, muscular endurance that we know Toomey can handle. So that will be the spots where she can make up any ground on Horvath, because I don't think she's going to be able to do it unless Horvath has a mistake on the obstacles.
650 meters to the obstacle course. Send it down to Mike Arsenault.
Thank you, Sean. I had a chance to speak to Michelle Letendre, Laura Horvath's coach, as the athletes were getting ready to come out onto the field. I asked her, she's a rookie, leading after day one of the competition. She's young, over only 21. Michelle told me Laura's wise beyond her years. She's very calm, very composed. I asked her, is she feeling any nerves? Michelle told me not outwardly. She thinks she's perfectly created and measured to handle the pressure of leading the CrossFit Games after the first day of competition. So look for the moment to not overwhelm her here on day number 2.
The strength, she just went over that wall. A lot of these ladies have to hold on, get their grip, make sure they take an extra pause. No, not Horvath. She just grabbed the wall and ripped herself right over.
Laura Horvath is now onto the low net. Catherine Davidsdottir has moved into second. Tia Toomey is in third.
I love Catherine Davidsdottir's speed here. Real quick through these transitions. It's a place where you can make up precious seconds.
Now onto the cargo net. 8 total obstacles here on the obstacle course that these women need to get through before they run back into the North Park and complete 2 more rope climbs and then that final rescue Randy drag.
All of these ladies are holding that middle rope there, the last heat to go, so good for them. If you weren't paying attention, shame on you. They got a chance to watch all of the other athletes, so they should know how to get through these as fast as possible.
Laura Horvath onto the hop logs. Catherine Davidsdottir on the right of your screen. Another 2-time champion along with Annie Thorisdottir is right behind her, but Horvath continues to lead here as she approaches the back half, the back portion of this obstacle course and the rope transfer. This is one that has given some women problems, and Horvath is through. Davidsdottir struggling a little bit to get to that final rope, but Horvath is just running her own race and it's working just fine for her.
She looks so calm. She seems so relaxed. Davidsdottir puts on the pressure and she just stays calm.
And now it's double for Horvath, and that's going to open the door for Davidsdottir. Tia Toomey is there as well. She is on the right. Davidsdottir can't make it. So Horvath survives her mistake, and she is still in the lead.
Real nice.
This is the final obstacle, the monkey bars. Toomey has moved into second place. She is on the right.
Much quicker on those monkey bars than Tia-Clair Toomey.
Now Laura Horvath is done. 650 meters back to the North Park. Tia Toomey, the defending champion, is right behind her. In the overall standings, it's Laura Horvath in first. Toomey is in second by 12 points. So Toomey is going to have to get some people between herself and Laura Horvath in this event if she wants to take back that white overall leader's jersey. And Horvath is still ahead of Jamie Green's pace. Green with the time to beat in the upper left-hand part of your screen did that in heat number 3.
I said you don't race the runs, but in Tia-Clair Toomey's case, this is where she needs to make up the ground on Horvath. So she needs to move. Horvath chalking up, getting ready for those rope climbs. And I expect Tia-Clair to put on some pressure here. She needs to if she wants these 100 points.
They are right next to each other as far as their lanes are concerned. Horvath is in lane 5, Toomey is in lane 6. So Horvath will have a little bit of a farther run to her rope when she gets back to the North Park. Catherine Davidsdottir is in third. She's on the left part of your screen. Laura Horvath, the fittest woman in Hungary in 2016, 2017, and this year, making her first ever appearance at the CrossFit Games.
But since Laura Horvath came to the regional, she has always competed amongst the crowd of Annie Thorisdottir. So that is the competition, the level of playing field she knew that she needed to be in order to get to the games. That's a really good thing when you're new to the sport of CrossFit.
Horvath on the back part now of this run as Tia Toomey is trying to reel her in. Well, points separate Laura Horvath from Tia Toomey on the overall leaderboard. The winner of this event will get 100 points. Second gets 94. Third gets 88. Better you do in an event, the more points you receive.
So far for these ladies, the effects of that marathon seem to be no big deal. I really wanted to see, but I don't see any signs of anything from day one of competition for these two athletes.
Laura Horvath will now get to work on her final 2 rope climbs as she is ahead of Tia Toomey and Catherine Davidsdottir. But Toomey managed to cut into that lead on that run. Horvath through her first rope climb.
Horvath even actually goes legless on the way down. She doesn't use her legs like other athletes do.
Toomey's through 1.
Shows how strong her grip really is.
Horvath through 2, and now back to rescue Randy. And Laura Horvath is staring at her first career event win here at the CrossFit Games.
The one hand that we saw earlier by Cole Sager, who won this event. So smart.
Laura Horvath blazing down the field, and she is way ahead of Tia Toomey and Catherine Davidsdottir. Tia Toomey is in second, trying to hold off Davidsdottir there on the right of your screen, but here comes Laura Horvath. Somebody get out there and tell this woman she's a rookie. Laura Horvath takes event 5.
Thanks for impressing me again, Laura. Great event, oh my word.
Meanwhile, Catherine Davidsdottir has passed Tia Toomey. Catherine is the blonde-headed woman in the middle of your screen. Kristen Holta is passing Toomey as well.
Look at what this event is doing to these women. These ladies are past champions.
The good news is second place is still up for grabs. That's worth 94 points. Kristen Holta has passed Davidsdottir. Holta is in. She will finish second. 94 points for Holta.
Kristen Holta is having a heck of a game so far. Came into this event in 8th place, only 54 points out of podium position. This is huge for her to get herself up there in the top 3.
Tia Toomey needs to hurry if she wants to take 5th place in this event. And it's going to be close because she was right there with Bethany Shatburn's time. Toomey will take 6th in the event. She is in danger of falling out of the top 3 as Annie Thorisdottir is coming in.
This isn't good for Annie. She came into this event 3rd place, so this will bring her down the leaderboard a bit.
The good news for Tia Toomey is, though, that Cara Saunders, Christy Aramo, 2 of the women behind her in the overall standings, are still on the field. Thorisdottir is in. That's Christy Aramo. She's fighting with Cara Saunders. They are neck and neck with 45 seconds to go before we hit the 12-minute time cap. And Saunders now has taken a slight lead on Aramo. Saunders is in. 30 seconds before we hit the time cap. Aramo's across the finish line. Sarah Sigmundsdottir just trying to get past as many lines as she can. Every line she passes will count as a rep, and that matters in the time cap because a lot of women did not finish this event. Sarah Sigmundsdottir came in 10th place overall, and she is not going to complete this event. Event 5 belongs to that woman, Laura Horvath, her first career event win, and she will be your overall leader after 5 events.
She absolutely killed this event from the start. She was the first woman to the rope climbs, was so quick, just smoked the rope. She was the first on the run. She got a little pressure from Catherine Davidsdottir once they got to the obstacle course, but that wasn't for too long. She was so relaxed and calm on the events here in the obstacles. This was her only mistake where she missed the rope transfer, but handled this so smooth. She didn't let it fluster her. She got right back to it. Catherine failed there, which was great for Horvath. Opened up that lead again, but then when she got back to the rope, she was so strong. Even went legless on the way down, showing just how much she had left in her grip. Tia Toomey here lost her shoe, which cost precious seconds to get that shoe back on. But when it came to the drag, Horvath just ran away with the event and with Randy to finish this thing up with her first event win. Good for her.
Laura Horvath, 100 points as she keeps herself atop the overall standings. Kristen Holta will take second. Catherine Davidsdottir locks up 88 points as she looks to move up from 6th place overall. Horvath, her first career event win, and now her first post-event interview with Mike Arsenault.
Thank you very much, Sean. Laura, we saw the men's Event 5 winner use the one-arm drag. Cole Sager, you used the one-arm drag for the second portion of this event. Why was that so effective?
Because it was faster, but also harder as the two-handed. So I was saving that for the last one.
So you went to bed on Wednesday night as the first place woman on the leaderboard. You went to bed last night as the first place woman. Today you put on the winner's jersey or the leader's jersey, the white jersey, for the first time. How do you deal with the pressure on being on the top of the leaderboard?
I don't really look at the clothes. I just feel like I'm one out of the girls, so I don't put pressure on myself, or I try not to. Everyone has a shot, so it's not final yet, so everyone can happen.
You're competing with a number of women who have CrossFit Games championships under their belt. Where do you get the confidence that you can hang with them here on the competition floor?
I don't know. I came here to win. I think all the women came here to win, so it's the same for everyone. Doesn't matter what you had last year or the year before. Everyone here is with a clean slate, so I don't think about those.
Congratulations. We'll see you this afternoon.
Thank you.